And we are live. Welcome to this edition of Wealthy Wednesday. Oh my goodness, this is the first Wealthy Wednesday of the year of 2025. And I mean, my guest has impeccable timing. I'm telling you, today is going to be fire. I'm super fired up for this. Now, listen, this is a new year. This has to be a new you. We got to do things differently. We got to have a new routine, maybe develop some new habits, new workouts, speak different, walk different, talk different. And that's why for me in 2025, I've been embracing this. A lot of people talk about mindset. We hear a lot about growth mindset. And for me, that's incongruent. It's like putting on the gas and the brake. We're talking about growth, but then the word is set, like to set something down, something that's static. It doesn't have vibrancy to it. So in my mind, as I was thinking about this, it doesn't make sense to me. So my upgraded language is growth, money, mind shift. We are going to have a mind shift in our money, a mind shift in everything that we do. And today is going to be a mind shift for you in personal development. My speaker, I'm telling you, our coffee connection was really a mastermind session, and it should have been recorded. So I'm super excited today. And believe it or not, well, I'm going to hit that in a second, but this is going to be incredible. You're going to have a lot of fun. And also at the same time, you're going to meet a lot of people. So I want you to shout out where you're tuning in from, what you do. Let us know what you do. Connect with each other. This isn't just about us. It's about all of you in the community bringing your energy too. So my guest speaker, I have to read this because this is just incredible. This blew me away. He's actually the CEO of Triad Leadership Solutions, LLC, and he served in the Navy for 26 years. Thank you so much for your service. We honor you. He was named the top list of the top 200 thought leaders, but followed to People Hum, a nominee of the top 30 global gurus list by Global Gurus. Say that 3 times fast. The top 200 biggest voices in leadership by Leadership Hum, top 10 inspiring leaders of 2023, 2024 100 executive coach of the year, and 2024 best CEO mentorship and leadership development. And today he just found out his new book, check this out, is #1, Voice Your Vibe, the power of authentic connection. So congratulations. And without further ado, please give it up for my incredible guest, Mr. Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. Take it away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for opening your doors to receive me and have me on today. I see a lot of people chiming in. So thank you for joining us today. The first day of the year, the best day to get started, as you said, getting your mindset right, getting your life in order, and getting things marching down what you want to see, right? And I have made a post this morning. Hey, you can't blame anybody for the choices you make from today on, right? At the end of the year. Today is the time to choose, and I hope that you're choosing right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have a few people who've joined us. Sam Hall, thank you for being here. If you're looking to upgrade your health, we're talking about upgrading things, right? If you want to upgrade your health, speak to Mr. Sam Hall. He has incredible supplements, super affordable, and he'll make it really, really easy for you. So definitely reach out to him. And Shelly Castle. Hi, Shelly. Thank you for joining us. I don't know. Do you know Shelly Enrique? I think you're new here. Thank you for joining us, Shelly. Omar, thank you for chiming in. Thank you for joining us. You do a podcast. That's great. We'd love to hear about your podcast. Maybe be a potential guest. And of course, my good friend, Mr. Michael Rivers. Incredible to have you. So excited to have you join us.
Thank you.
And absolutely, this is going to be a lot of fun. I would really encourage you to take some notes, but I really want you to really just allow this to kind of sink in, because a lot of this might be that shifting. And sometimes for me, I know if I take a lot of notes, sometimes I don't give myself that opportunity. So you might want to go back and rewatch this. So I definitely do this conversational. I have to ask you about your book. I love this title. So I know we talked about a lot of things, but I want you to talk about the power of authentic connections. Listen, I just think that there's so much lip service given to this word authenticity and being authentic. People talk about it, And then they don't want to get on camera. People talk about it and they want to have this beautiful picture perfect selfie. And then you meet them and they look nothing like it. People talk about being authentic, but then everything they say is scripted. It's rehearsed. That's why I love doing this. There is no rehearsal here. This is all live. Listen, if I muck it up or my words get tongue-tied, you're going to see it live. And so I would love to know what your interpretation is being authentic and why is there power in that?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking that. And this is a collaborative book. Brian Schulman and Nancy Deborah are the main authors, and they took a group of us that have been sharing over the years, and they decided to create this book entitled, Voice Your Vibe: The Power of Authentic Connection. And if there's anything that has occurred over the years with this group, is authentic connection. I mean, when they come here to Orlando and are in town, they're taken care of, right? They're taken care of because we care about each other. We put humanity first, and then all the things after that fall into place. And it's beautiful to see in today's day to see humanity first. That's something that we are seeing a big lack in, a lot of self-centeredness, a lot of self-drive. And hey, I'm all for self-drive and attaining the things that you have ahead of you and for you. And by all means, do so. But when it's at the risk of someone else or at the expense of someone else's progress, then it's become selfish, right? And you have crossed the line from being human to just being just for you, and that's a terrible life to live, let alone the expectations of what happens after. So this book is basically comprises a ton of authors that have been sharing over the years, and it's so good to see it rise to #1 bestseller on several categories. And it was great news to get this first day of 25.
That's so awesome. I love that. I always told my kids, listen, you don't have to put someone else down to lift yourself up. If you're good, just be good. Do you, right? Shine your light. And oftentimes we don't want to stand out. We kind of want to go with the flow and be like everybody else. But then we just get lost in the sauce like a meatball. Mm-hmm. I think that so many times that we get these gentle nudges, we get these intuitions, we get these divine downloads, and then we don't take that action. This Wealthy Wednesday was a divine download. I never wanted a podcast. I never wanted to be on camera. I never wanted to do any of this. But you know what? God just told me that it was something I needed to do. And in the beginning, I literally had 3 guest speakers that were all my friends that were on LinkedIn, and they were centers of influence. And I asked them, will you be my guest? That's how we started it. I didn't even want to have it live. I wanted to do an audio room. And my good friend Chesda Nwehe, she encouraged me. She said, you've got to do the video. And I got to tell you, and this is not to toot my own horn at all, because it's not about me. It's about my incredible speakers who volunteer their time. They come here, they bring their whole heart, they bring their whole energy. And I had a show every single week last year, except Christmas. That's the only week I missed because it did land on Christmas Day. But I had somebody who wanted to be on a Wednesday, and I said, you know what, I have to spend time with my family. But so I've done 51 shows, and today is 52. And this show is actually booked until April of 2025. I can't even believe that. And what I'm saying is that I just took inspired action. Listen, I'm not any better than anyone else. You see this? If you've been here, like Mr. Mic Drop, David Jones, he's seen me flub it up. In fact, he's had to come on stage a few times and help me to work it out. Listen, but that's what it's about. People, I think, they want people to see them in a certain way and have the period. Like they want to have the final destination. But really, to me, it's about people joining me in the journey. And that's really, to me, what true authenticity is. And that's where the power is being willing to flub it up. So I'm talking too much. I want to hear from you. And really quick, let me just circle back. Miss Shelley Castle, I know who you are now. She is from impeccablemerides.com. And I believe she's in Las Vegas. Shout out where you're located, Miss Shelley. She does limo rides. And I'm talking about really nice limo rides, probably more affordable than Uber, luxurious rides. So if you want to get from A to B, reach out to my good friend, Miss Shelley. So when we did our coffee chat, I mean, it was a mastermind. You spit so much fire there. You talked about the four pillars. See, I have my notes here. I didn't
Oh
take
yeah.
that many notes from you because I was just so engaged in the conversation. But really what stuck out to me was when you were talking about the four pillars. And even now that I say that, it gives me chills. And what I wrote down was sacrifice, service, legacy, and citizenship. And I starred and circled citizenship because I think that's a word that has become extinct. Can we kind of touch on that, Enrique?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for bringing those up, and hello everybody. I see the names. I see Jesse Staten out there, and he was on my show as well. A great supporter. Thank you, brother. Happy New Year to everyone. So the four pillars are four pillars that are part of a nonprofit called the Bob Feller Act of Valor Foundation. I speak of them because they are core to what they want to bring back to the nation, right? Citizenship being one of them. Now, as a service member, citizenship runs high, right? It runs high in services. You have to have citizenship at top of mind to sign away your life and say, hey, I'm willing to go even sacrifice it for the sake of my nation, right?
Right.
And not everybody does it, right? It's only 1% sample of America at any one given time that reflects the totality of the armed services. And so look at that, 1% of our nation, 99% choose not to, right?
Right.
Because it is a choice. But the 1%, Lord bless them. They do it, and we do it for the sake of ensuring that we can go a little farther as a nation, right? And then the different things that we do. But citizenship, if you look around yourself, and I'll mention earlier, selfishness, right? We are a nation that quickly adopts trends and technology, right? Trends and technology. We're great at technology in the aspect of that we try to harness it and things of that nature. But one of the things that may be a pitfall for many is trends,
Mm.
right? And trends come and go. And so when you switch citizenship, the basic, I pledge allegiance to the flag. I haven't heard that in eons, right? So there's no allegiance to anything at this moment, right? Because we cut that away. When you get up and you're in a stadium and the Star Spangled Banner is going and you look around and you're the only one singing it because it hasn't been sung in so long that people don't know it. And so you start to strip away these little things that made you connect with your nation. And now you start to allow people to feel disconnected. And when you feel disconnected, you run I say, danger of being nonchalant, very inapathetic, and you look at things with a sense of it's not affecting me, so I guess I'm okay. And when you can get to that point as a citizen of our nation, it becomes difficult to rally the citizens and the nation. And so when you look at things like our political landscape, it's very divisive. It's this half and that half. Well, we haven't had this half and that half uh, basically since the Civil War, where it was really this half and that half. So citizenship is very key to the longevity of not only our life in our nation, but the longevity of our nation in a world platform.
Mm.
America is not the world. It is just a nation in a world. And so it's, it's um very sad to see that citizenship is challenged so harshly, and that we are not making better attempts to reestablish our connection with our nation. And citizenship, one of those pillars, is what that aim is, to get people reconnected with their nation and what used to join us, right? And not divide us.
Yeah, that's so good. And not to get political, but I would just say that for me, I've been very, very blessed. I have clients of all walks of life, all demographics, all geographics, all backgrounds. I have clients who are wealthy. I have clients who are just starting out. So I love that. I embrace that. Not everybody is of the same faith as I, and I absolutely love that. I don't think that citizenship to me means that we all have to be, aligned, let's say spiritually.
Right.
But for me, what it means is that we are sharing in each other's burdens, sharing in each other's success. And this is what I mean by that, is that if we're so lost in ourselves that when somebody else has success, we're feeling some kind of way, like we feel like we're feeling jealous or we're harboring that, then to me, that's not really creating that citizenship, right? That success for all of us. Listen, if they did it, that means you could do it too. And I just think that citizenship for me is really being connected to the community. When we're not connected to the community, I feel like that's when we can do harm to the community and feel no remorse for it. We don't feel like it affects us. We can throw trash here on the street. Listen, I live in Monterey. It is a tourist community. And sorry, tourists, I'm gonna put you on notice here. People here care about the land. They care about the environment. We clean up the beaches. We have trash receptacles everywhere, and everybody's very aware of that. And then, like yesterday, a lot of people from out of town are here, and we see a lot of trash that's put in the parking lots, and it's because they don't feel connected to the community. They love to come here and see the beauty, but they're not from here. So they feel like, it doesn't matter. Let me just toss that here. So sorry, tourists. We love you. Okay, please come to Monterey, but treat it beautifully. So how could somebody, let's say, a lot of entrepreneurs are tuning in here, a lot of business owners. How does that relate to them when it comes to their business and their industry?
Yeah, a great question, and one that we tackle a lot, which is, how am I connected to the community that I am serving? I'll tell you. So there was one approach that I took personally, right? So I'll use myself as an example. I wanted to be uh, at least recognized as a world leader, world influencing leader, where I was just not talking about the US, I was talking about leadership at large, worldwide, where people could understand that, not everything is done like the US does it, right? Although a lot of people around the world look up to US type leadership, there are some times where they don't, right? And so we have to understand that. So so my approach was worldwide. Well, I negated my local. And so, you have to know, and I went into it knowing that I would, right? There are a lot of local leaders that can do local. I chose to do worldwide.
Mhm.
Well, when you go around and nobody knows you locally,
Yeah.
then what? Right? Then you have to ask yourself. But when it comes to citizenship and your local community, how well are you known as a business for coming back to the community and infusing the community with life? That's a question as a business owner that you should be asking yourself. How am I roping into my business plan my local community. Maybe there is an orphanage that you can sponsor. Maybe it is a toy drive at the end of the year. Maybe it is visiting a children's hospital, and bringing some joy. Or maybe you want to just sponsor an event where you collaborate with the city and you close down a street and you just, treat the community to, lunch, sandwiches and soda, or a drink, right? Those are things that businesses are not thinking of because they're always thinking, how can I increase revenue? Obviously, this is going to take a little bit of that, but just imagine when the community rallies around you when the tough time comes, right? We've seen this in restaurants. They serve the community and they do it with distinction. They're about to close because something tragic happens and the community will not allow it.
That's right.
They will buy them out before they allow that establishment to go down. That is citizenship in business.
That was fire. That was fire. Oh, gosh, you gave me like a little bit choked up right here because it's so often that people say this to me. You know what, Leah, I'm good. You know what? I don't need money. That's too much money. I don't want to be greedy. Listen, if I get too much money, then I'm going to be snobby. I'm going to be snooty like everybody else. And I just don't believe that. I don't accept that there's such a thing as too much money, because I believe that when we give out of abundance, we will receive out of abundance. And I see so many well-meaning, wonderful, beautiful people who are giving out of lack and scarcity. And that, in my mind, is not congruent.
Right.
And there's something very, it's very, they're being very humble. They're being very genuine. And I honor that. I do. But I know when I see that, I know that there's an opportunity for a growth money mind shift, right? That when we can receive out of abundance and we have this multiple six figures, multiple $1 million, multiple billions of dollars. And if you're a tithing person, what does that mean for your community? Right? And if you're not a tithing person and you just want to give back, I shouldn't say just, and you want to give back, you want to have an impact. Whew, that was so good. I just love that. I honor you, Enrique. Thank you for giving me so much hope, because that really is when we can come together, not just as business owners giving back to our community, but I believe giving back to each other.
And you mentioned something that was very key. I like to touch on that very briefly. You said that, some people say, oh, I don't want to be rich because, I might get to a place where I lose myself. Well, that's a level of inauthenticity that has to be challenged, because we all say we're authentic and we all say that we're humble. But humility is not taking on a mind of poverty just not to look better than the other. That's not what that is. Humility is having the resource and capabilities to do something and doing it without tooting your horn, right? without saying, look what I'm giving $1 million to. You don't have to do that. But you can't give the $1 million if you don't have it, right? So sometimes we are inauthentic with ourselves when we pursue humility, because that's not what the goal is. The goal is to be able to be a person that if my neighbor needs something, I can supply it without going in lack. And even if I don't supply it, maybe I put it in a place where it doubles, so that not only my neighbor here, maybe my neighbor here, and if everybody had a mentality like that, what neighbor would not be covered if something bad happens? Now, I'm not talking about a slothful neighbor that is not willing to do anything and just receive, right? That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about your neighbor that is an honest person and doing well, and then tough times came. And how many people wouldn't rally around that to say, you know what, maybe this time it's you, maybe tomorrow it's me. And that mentality allows you to say, okay, well, I'm going to get something. I'm not going to squander it. I'm not going to tuck it away. I'm going to put it in a place where it's going to grow, to your financial comments, right? And but at the same time, if something happens, I can be a resource for my neighbor. That's citizenship. That's also being authentic with the way you're going to go about it.
I love the way you phrase that. And one of my mentors is a billionaire. And he is one of the most humble, giving servant leaders that I have ever met. And I know a lot of incredible people, and they will tell you that he truly is, he is that servant leader. If you met him, you would never even know his wealth. He kind of dresses a little, we're in Monterey here. He's actually just up the road from me. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to live here. But you wouldn't even know that. He is personable. And I think that's for me, that fortifies me, that I know it's possible to be wealthy in all areas of your life, in your faith, in your family, in your finance, in your fitness, and your fun. I saw somebody that made this comment, and I'd like you to speak to this, Enrique. There was a comment that was made, and it said something about, being wealthy in 2025. And somebody said, well, you know what? Money's not everything. I'd rather have my family than have money. I'd rather have love than have money. And I say, we don't have to pick. Like T. Harv Eker says, you can have your cake and eat it too. Right? He says, and he doesn't say you have to pick. It's not either or. So what would you share with somebody? And, it's well-meaning, right? Yeah. This is not malicious. I don't mean this at all. I'm just saying that when I see those kinds of things, it really makes me so sad, because I think that we've been taught, or we've been programmed to think that we have to pick. We can't be a good person and be freaking stinking wealthy. Okay. Because I believe that we absolutely can. I'd love you to touch on that.
Yeah. Well, you spoke about mind shifts early, right? And so this is a mind shift opportunity. So this is a wordplay, right? You're choosing one word over another. So you've made a choice. Yeah. And this is the point. The point is that sometimes we choose things inauthentically to seem like we're doing something good. And it may be well intended, but it's still inauthentic. But you can't tell me that if I jump to that person's house and say, here's $1 million check, they won't take it.
Yeah.
If they don't, then I'm going to start asking some other questions. But here it is. It's not right, wrong, or indifferent. Right? The person saying that is not right. It's not wrong. It is just what they believe. So if we're speaking and the choice of words, let's just say this, the choice of our words will dictate our eventual end. It will dictate it, right? Because this is a rather than and. Just the word. But it dictates everything that goes on from here on then, especially if you're saying it, right? Is being rich the lot for everyone? I don't think so. Because there's a lot of people that have poor mentality. They can't hold the riches for long. They can't, right? And so your mind has to be of the sort that will say, what do I need to position myself in a way where I can be a blessing rather than a burden, right? So what are you choosing to be? Do you choose to be a blessing, or do you choose to be a burden? Because regardless of what you say, you are making the choice. Now, earlier today, I was talking about having accountability. right? This is day one. Today is day one. Whatever happens from here to the end of the year, that's on you. Now, you can't control the intangibles, right? You can't control that a hurricane came and I'm in Orlando and wiped your house out. But hopefully you had insurance, right? Hopefully you thought this out. Right? And you position yourself in a way where you may suffer an inconvenience, you may have total loss, and you may have to start over, but it won't be all at your expense. Your insurance is going to cover that, and you're going to be able to recoup. So your trajectory is based on your thinking, and what you say is what will happen. So let's get our minds and our vocabulary in sync in
Mm,
order for us to be what we say we want to be. And your mind and your vocabulary cannot be at odds if you aim to get anywhere far. That has to be key for you to move on from today to tomorrow. So hopefully that helps.
yeah. So it definitely does help. And this is what what I hear you saying, and this is what I truly believe is that the reason people say things like more money, more problems, right? That's like a popular song, and it's a cool song.
Yeah.
But it's because we have to grow with it. This is why when people win the lottery, they're usually broke within just a few years and probably have to file bankruptcy oftentimes. The number is really high. It's like over 80% of people will be broke.
Yep.
They'll be in squalor after winning something like that because we have to grow with that. We have to grow our identity of being that wealthy person, grow our vibration, shift our mind thinking, our money mind thinking, right? We have to shift that. And if we don't, then we're not in alignment with it. It cannot stay with us because we're still living in squalor in our mind, but yet we have all this abundance. And by the way, I'm using a pretty extreme example. This could be, and I'd love your feelings about this, Enrique. This could mean that you're just the first person in your family that's out of debt. Like you do that, you accomplish it, and everybody's excited for you, but then you haven't upgraded our stinking thinking, and now we go back in debt. You're maybe the first person in your family to buy a home, and they celebrate. You have the party and the celebrations, but then a few years later, they end up having to sell it on a short sale. You know, things like that. So what would you say about that, Enrique?
Well, specifically to the thinking, um, let me and like I just said, this body acts as you say, and you don't say by speaking, you say by thinking, and say so. You say go here in your mind. You don't even have to verbalize it. You're going, right? You say I'm going to sleep. You can just drop in the bed. So the mind is where wealth is actually generated.
Oof.
It's not the money, because you could take any currency, and by that I mean there's financial currency, there's relationship currency, there's love there's so many different types of currency, but your mind is where wealth is built. You know, if you ask me, oh, I'm gonna get Enrique, you just got $1 million. The very first thing I'm thinking, insurance.
Yeah,
Insurance. I have to insure this money.
that's right.
And so how do I insure this money? Well, if you split it into four, you put it in four, high yielding, not just four banks, four high yielding accounts in banks that are insured. I split those things as 250,000, and then that money is insured. How do I insure me? Because with that million, I can insure myself with a nice policy that might be 3 or 4 million. Because tomorrow's not promised, right? So your mind is what generates the wealth. And if you're not thinking in that way, your money is never going to grow. It's always going to be in and out, in and out, right? And so the mind is where you start asking yourself questions like that. okay, if I was given $1 million, what would I do with it?
There you go.
If you start spending in that conversation before you start securing for future and growth
Yeah.
and having that money work for you so you don't have to work for the money, then there are issues that you need to start digging into. And that's where the financial planners and folks like you and people that can strategists and things like that can help.
Yeah, I'm going to gently push back and then sparkle what you said.
Yeah.
Please don't put $1 million in the bank, folks, not even 4 different banks. Okay. Please reach out to me. Don't do it. I know it's FDIC. I'm going to do a show about that FDIC.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I get your point is that you want to have a plan for it. Act as
And
if.
that's the gist of it. Have a
Have
plan.
a plan for it, right? Act as if, like, what would you do? And that's when you start to raise your vibration. That's when you start to attract those things. And in my mind, that's when our reticular activating system starts to become engaged because we can see these opportunities that otherwise will just pass right by us. And I want to highlight somebody here who has joined us, Miss Chesda. I believe she was my first guest. Put it in the chat, Miss Chesda. She's the one. I have to give her credit. She encouraged me. I'm going to say encouraged, but she told me, Leah, you need to do these videos. Okay. I resisted until the very last minute. I wanted to do an audio event, but I just honor you so much. You know, it's wonderful to have people who around you who can help you to see things in yourself that you don't see. And I appreciate her so much. She is a 2-time international best-selling author. So if you don't know my good friend, please reach out to her. And we are going to I'm going to do something. This is 2025, okay? I'm going to do something I've never done here before. This is pretty incredible. Let's see if I can pull it off. We're going to have a word from our sponsor. Is that okay, Enrique?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's see if this works here.
Are you a business owner looking to secure your financial future and create a lasting legacy? I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional, and I specialize in guiding businesses with up to 50 employees on how to effectively protect and transfer their wealth. We break down silos with my unique approach, the Wall of Wealth. Imagine a seamless collaboration among your CPA, tax attorney, estate planner, and insurance expert, each playing their part in perfect harmony, ensuring your financial strategy is not just effective, but a true masterpiece. My passion stems from my own journey, from growing up on food stamps to dreaming of building community centers that empower others. Together, we'll craft a roadmap that not only safeguards your assets, but also nurtures generational wealth for your loved ones. Let's transform your vision into reality. After all, you can't measure the heart of a champion just by looking at them. Join me, and let's make your financial future shine.
Is that so cool? I gotta
cool.
give a shout out to the Hello LLC. Oh my goodness. If you want to upgrade your social media, you want to upgrade your dusty, crusty business card and website, I'm telling you, they are brilliant. They are geniuses. I call them Miss Christmas is Tara Bush and Mr. Mike Drop David Jones. They are a power couple and they will absolutely ignite your social media presence. I'm telling you. And I even have, check this out, my new merch, $1 Million Baby.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, because of them. They're so awesome. So I want to talk about, if you could, is let's say, and I see this a lot, and I've asked this question a few times to other people. I would love to hear your take on it. Oftentimes I get in front of a business owner, entrepreneur, and they are working hard. They're sacrificing. They are staying up late, missing birthday parties, not taking vacations, and they're doing all of these things to sweat of their brow, right, to create this business. But then they do things like they do the self-sabotage stuff. Like, you know what? I don't need to have a bunch of money. Oh, Leah, you know what? I don't care about saving and investing. I'm just going to live for today. Like they're doing all these things that are incongruent. What would you say to somebody? I call it putting on the gas and the brake. What would you say to somebody that's kind of struggling with that?
Yeah, entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is very hard. You need a particular mindset around the sacrifices that will be asked of you. Now, I will tell you that entrepreneurship does not have to mean that you miss your birthday to the kids and your family's going on vacation by themselves. That's not what that means. That's poor entrepreneurship. I'll tell you that right now. It's very poor to think that someone else cannot do what you are thinking that you need to do, right? So hopefully you get a mentor and an advisor to help you navigate entrepreneurship, because you do not need to sacrifice anything for something that can be gone tomorrow. I'll tell you that. So gas go. You'll have to make decisions. Some decisions will require your attention, but you have to know which ones don't. And part of leadership is delegation. When you cannot delegate, you have to accept that you're not leading. You have to accept the fact that when you don't delegate, you are choosing not to lead. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. And because there are people that do things better than us. What audacity to think that there's not somebody better to do that than us. And you have to, and if you, especially if you're leading teams, most leaders fail to ask teams who can do it because they want the limelight. That's just it. And you got to be truthful with yourself. And when you're truthful with yourself, then you can truly lead folks that can do things. And so I love leaders that come in and say, look, I've got a team for a purpose, for a reason. And some entrepreneurs may say, oh, Bob, but I'm by myself. Well, not everything needs to be paid. Have you ever asked someone to do something and they did it and you both were happy, right? There may be somebody out there that may want to do some things for you or can do some things for a different form of payment. Maybe it's mentorship. Maybe it's coming in and maybe working up their confidence so that when they move on, they have it, right? So there's a lot of ways to be able to judge when you're going to put the gas and put the brakes as an entrepreneur, but it really demands you to analyze how you're leading and how you're not.
Whew. That by far was one of the best answers I've ever heard. And I want to rewind some of that and highlight a few things. Number one, what you said was when you don't delegate, you are choosing not to lead. You know, John Maxwell, I know you're John Maxwell trained, but he says, I love this quote. I love so much of his work. He says, anyone who thinks that they are a leader yet has no one following them is simply taking a walk. And in the beginning, we are taking a walk, and that's okay. I did this Wealthy Wednesday. There was nobody on the first show. I don't even know if we had it. I don't know. I really don't know. But we have to act as if, and at some point, as you start to speak and you grow, you will start to attract that. The other thing that it makes me think about is that when we are trying to do everything, in my mind, what I'm hearing you say is we're kind of pulling somebody away from their blessing, right? Who would like to bless you.
Yep.
And that's not prosperous. That's not wealthy, right? That's living to me in still a poverty mindset. Again, I think it goes back to lack and limitations. I only have this little bit of money. And you said something in the beginning that was profound. And I don't know if everybody caught this. I see so many entrepreneurs, small business owners They are that one-man band. In the beginning, you have to be that, right? And that's okay. But you have to employ, and when I say employ, you have to designate, you have to search and find a mentor. You cannot do this alone because we're coming from an employee mindset. And by the way, today is the day off for employees, right? But we're entrepreneurs. That's why we're here on this call. We're not employees. So there's a shift that has to happen. And if a lot of times they have a successful business, they work hard and they get their business to a certain level, and then they start to look around and they realize that they don't have a mentor. They don't have anybody who's helping them along the way. So, I mean, do you agree that they should get a mentor like in the beginning, or is it something wait until they kind of have some success?
Yeah, no, I teach a CEO course on leadership ethics and the sorts and teams, right? Leadership ethics and teams. And when I get to the portion of teams, my very first question for them, because they are solo, is where's your team?
Yeah.
And they're like, I mean, I'm just starting. Then you started wrong. You started wrong, because a person going into deep waters that have only wet their ankles is looking for trouble if they don't have with them a couple of friends that swim. So why would you go into business that becomes a liability? Business, if it's at its core, is liability.
Right.
And so what happens is the business owner creates an environment where the revenue generation negates the liability, right? So you're generating funds to be able to address any potential liability, but at its core, it's a liability. You're putting yourself out there. You don't know what is going to stick, what's not going to stick. Hopefully you did market research and but a lot of people just go for it.
Yeah.
So it's critical to have a base. When I started my business, I did not start day one until I had 5 core mentors that were willing and signed up through dialogue and getting to know each other, that were willing to be there before I said go. And those 5 individuals are still with me today, and they are the most educated men I know in the world of business, in the world of leadership, and in the world of ethics. And I started with them as part of my team before I ever said go.
Yeah. Boy,
So
that's so fire.
Yeah, if you don't do that, you've just set yourself up.
Yeah, this is a gloves off conversation here. Okay, you came here for the real stuff. You're a champion. If you're on this call and you're ready, you can take it, right? Champions are willing to hear the tough things. If you start your business without a mentor, you started wrong. Push the restart button. And I'm gonna toggle on to that. I'm gonna say you need to have a financial team. Listen, we're working hard to have this wealth. Or maybe, whatever that, like I said, whatever that wealth means to you, but yet we don't have a holding place for this wealth. We don't have this basket ready and willing to accept that. And oftentimes people get going and then their income, they do go to zero to hero. And now suddenly they find themselves in tax situations they never anticipated. And now they're looking for tax help and a tax attorney. And what happens to their business? See, we can't do both at the same time unless we put the systems in place. When we have the systems in place and you go from zero to hero, you know where that holding basket is. You know where that wealth is going. By the way, it's not going in the bank, if you know me. Okay, but that's okay. Right? A portion, that's okay. So I love that you said that. And so if somebody did start wrong, let's say they did start wrong and they've been in business a few years, they've been in business a while and they're having success. What should they do?
Catch up. I mean, the beauty of our mind and our ability to decide is that we could decide. decide to change it up and make it better. It doesn't mean that you have to shut down shop in order to do that. No, go have those conversations with individuals that you trust and can do business with, right? Because the trust is number one. You have to be able to do that, but that you can also do business with, and maybe they will do it. Maybe they'll be your mentors without having to pay. I do that all the time. I'm on some boards as advisors. I'm on boards as a board member. So I'm doing that. No one's getting paid, but it's because I want those leaders to shine. I want them to thrive. I want them not to go through what most people say they go through. And so there are people out there willing to join you as advisors, as mentors on your boards, so that you can shine, so that you can thrive. This is and for folks that have been in business a while, we understand that it takes that, right? So you can do that. But the important part is you have to see that you messed up, and you have to see that you can correct it. But don't wait another day. Like, this is day one, right?
Right.
Don't go day two and say you're thinking about it. Today's the day to decide. If you recognize that you started wrong, today is the day. Go start calling some people, and by tomorrow, you should at least have one.
Yeah. Everybody get one person on your team, one person who's there who can support you. Maybe in the beginning you start with a barter system. I love the barter system, right? That's a great system. Maybe you have something a value that you can trade for somebody else for their service. Maybe you're mentoring each other in different ways.
Yep.
Maybe you're mentoring them in financial, and they're going to mentor you in, leadership and development.
Exactly.
Because I think that so little time is put into leadership. Somebody thinks if they're a contractor, a general contractor, a painter, they're an author, they think that they are not a leader. But the truth is, and I'm going to come back to John Maxwell's quote, we all have people following us. We all have people who are watching us. We all have people, they may be hidden in the bushes, right? Maybe right now they're kind of your haters, but we all have people that are looking up to us. My precious grandson, he just turned 6. I told him 6, pick up sticks, mijos, right? Champions, you're a champion, and champions can do hard things. And so we're all have people who are looking up at us. So if you think right now that you are in your industry and you're not leading, I would respectfully disagree with you. You are leading, whatever your industry is. So we have to fortify ourselves and grow in our leadership. So let's say that they've got this mentor now. What's the one thing that they should focus on for 2025 here?
Self-development.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, and I was thinking about this morning. Today is a new year, but we're not we're the same old people, right? That didn't change. The date changed, but we didn't necessarily change from yesterday to today all that much, other than maybe some comments of, oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. But very few of us know ourselves intimately to the point where we can be honest with ourselves. And so if you're going to do anything that's going to benefit you, you need to start getting acquainted with yourself again. And I mean, I'm putting a list together of the things that cause Enrique some pain by Enrique's decisions. I'm putting a list together of the qualities in Enrique that do not benefit him or serve him. I'm going to make a list of the things that do serve him and are additions and are blessings and all this. Get to know yourself again. We're trying to answer everybody else's mail, and we don't even know our own mailbox. We don't even know how to locate it. And so if you're going to do anything, sit down with yourself. Start writing. What do you like about yourself? Well, you don't. Because if you aim to lead anybody and you can't do it for yourself, you're just playing the role of leader.
Yeah.
And everybody can do that. I mean, I've seen it done. I've done it in my life. I've played the role of leader until I came head to head, face to face with myself and started getting some nasty things out, some great stuff in, some upshoring of some good things that were there, and became the leader of myself. Then everybody started to notice that, hey, this dude is solid and maybe I should follow him. And that's when that's when you really capitalize on leadership and life in general, right? Life in general.
Yeah. I say have a little powwow with 3 people, me, myself, and I. Right. And I am that one that I talk to myself, I answer myself. And by the way, I laugh at all my own jokes. I'm so funny. You guys don't even know this. So it really is having that conversation with ourselves and being very introspective, asking ourselves the hard questions and taking responsibility. So this was incredible. You've done so much. You've given so much value, so much service, Enrique. What is coming up for today's day 1 of 2025? So what do you have coming up in 2025? What can we expect to see from you this year?
Yeah, so thankfully, kind of in similar to you, my podcast is booked throughout the year completely. And so all those guests, and I have posted on it. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that. But if you haven't, go ahead, follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to connect with all of you that have been here with us today. And so the podcast is going well. We aim to do more of TV. So you'll see the podcast more on TV, Apple, Roku, things like that. So we're doing that. Personally, for the company, my aim is to increase the team. So that's in different ways. And you kind of mentioned earlier ways that I do that are some bartering, are some employment. So those things are coming up. And so the team will increase, and authorship, right? So we just finished a project at the end of 24, was released, and thankful and blessed to have that today announced as a bestseller in several categories. So that's just one for the year. And then I have several other writing projects, speaking. I believe I'll be in Texas sometime this year in the June, July timeframe. So I'll be speaking at an event out there on leadership. And so those things are what are kind of filling my calendar for 25. And I hope that those listening will join that journey with me.
Yeah, I have a lot of connections in Texas, so please keep us updated on where you're going to be. And so I know people are going to want to reach out to you. I know people are going to want to connect you. What is the best way for people to connect with you, Enrique?
Yeah, the best way is on LinkedIn. That's where I frequent most of my activity. Would love to accept your follow or your connection if you send me one. Please let me know that it was through this show that you saw me and want to connect, and I'll make sure to do so. And I believe in the beginning of the chat, I put in a link where you can enjoy that book on Kindle. It's a free download, and you can get a copy today. If you go to that link, you'll be able to download and enjoy the content from several authors that joined that project.
Wow, that is so generous. Thank you so much. This has been truly incredible. The perfect way to start off and kick off our 2025. I enjoyed this so much. I've got some great notes, but even more than that, I have some great golden nuggets that I'm going to implement today. And that's really when you know that you've had an impact. Not that people give you applause, although we love the applause. We love the applause and the accolades. But we also love to see people. I know that it would make you proud to see people who took something away from this and implemented it and truly did thrive in 2025. So that's going to kind of wind us up. And I would kind of end it here. Listen, if you're on this Wealthy Wednesday, If you're here in this community, it's because you are a champion. You are here to be that name changer in your own family. You're the one that's supposed to change your family's last name forever. Whatever success financially means for you, you are that one. But it takes the implementation, right? Taking action. And wherever you are financially, listen, we want to go to that next level. I will love the opportunity to sit down with you and just see if it's a good fit. Listen, I can't help everyone, but maybe at least I can give you some guidance. I can put you on the right track. I can give you some connections, some free tools that maybe you can use and implement. Because what got us here won't get us there. It truly won't. So this is our year. This is it. Let's do it. We can do it. I promise I won't bite. It'll be okay. I promise you. So we're all going to thrive in 2025. Thank you so much, Enrique. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you so much. I loved all the comments. This was so much fun. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. We love you guys.